First Man. First Man was released in 2018 and is directed by Damien Chazelle and stars Ryan Gosling and Claire Foy. And basically, the film tells the story of Neil Armstrong's journey to going to the moon. Because in the film, you see Neil Armstrong, played by Ryan Gosling, going on the space trainer to go to the moon. You do actually see the moon landing happen in the film as well. But the film always goes back to the central relationship between Neil Armstrong and his family, and more specifically, Neil Armstrong, played by Ryan Gosling, and his wife, played by Claire Foy in the film. And that's what the film always goes back to. So you do see Neil Armstrong, you know, in space in the film, you see him meet Buzz Aldrin, you see him meet other astronauts in the film, you see the effect other astronauts have on Neil Armstrong in the film, but at the same time though, the film always goes back to the central relationship between Neil Armstrong and his family, and more specifically, Neil Armstrong and his wife in the film. And that's basically the plot of First Man. And I actually remember going back and watching this film in 2018 in the cinema, and I must admit, I'm not a fan of space movies. I'm not big on Interstellar, and I'm not big on Gravity either. I don't really find space that interesting. I don't really like science at all, to be honest. Personally, I just don't really like space movies, and they don't interest me that much. That's what I'm trying to say. You might be saying, they may be wondering, why did I go and watch this film in the cinema? Well, the simple answer to that is Damien Chazelle. Now, if you don't know who Damien Chazelle is, basically, he directed La La Land, a film I like quite a lot, and at the same time though, he also directed Whiplash, a film I really love, which is actually one of my top 10 favourite films. I think it was number 5 of my top 10 favourite films, I think it was. But anyway, basically, he directed those two films. So naturally, I was kind of intrigued to watch this film, but I didn't know what to make of it, because first of all, Damien Chazelle is actually writing, so he actually wrote and directed, you know, La La Land and Whiplash, but he didn't write and direct this film. So I was a bit intrigued in it, because he is just directing in the end, but I think Damien Chazelle's a fantastic director. Like I said, I really like those films, so I was intrigued to watch this one. And actually, I had a very nice, pleasant surprise watching this film the first time. I remember just coming out of the cinema the first time actually watching the film and thinking, wow, what a good film. And I actually watched it again recently, this review today, and I still think it's a really good film. I mean, I don't love it like I love La La Land and Whiplash, but from someone who's not actually interested in all the stuff to do with space and everything, not interested to do like, you know, moon landings and stuff, I'm not really interested in that. I find it interesting a bit, but not as interesting as some other people do. So from someone who's not really interested in that subject, I actually really like this film. And the reason I like it so much is because I remember going and watching it for the first time and going to the film thinking it's going to be one film. Going to the film thinking it's going to be this film about, you know, space and everything, and Neil Armstrong preparing to go to the moon. And I know the film is about that. That is still a significant chunk of the film. The film, it more focuses on the relationship between Neil Armstrong and his family, and more specifically Neil Armstrong and his wife in the film, which works really, really well. And actually, you go in expecting one film, you go in expecting that film about space, but actually the film was more about family, and that's the film I became more interested in, which I didn't expect at all. Like, don't get me wrong, yes, it's a film about family, and obviously quite a lot of films about families nowadays, it's quite generic to have a film about family, but the thing is with First Man, it's done in a different way, which personally made it more interesting for me. What I think makes this film so interesting is that the family stuff in this film is done really well. Like, you'll have moments in the film, you know, about 10 minutes of the film would be on all the space train and everything. You see like Neil Armstrong meeting all these other astronauts in the film and everything, and you see him doing all the space training, and sometimes it goes right, sometimes it goes wrong, but then you always cut back to, you know, Claire Foy, who plays Neil Armstrong's wife in the film, and also his family. And that works really well, because, especially in the third act of the film, there's a question which, you know, Claire Foy's character keeps saying to Neil Armstrong, played by Ryan Gosling, and she keeps saying, are you going to make it back? And then he's like, I might not make it back. And even so, in real life, you know he does make it back. The film actually makes it so you're not actually sure if he's going to make it back. And there's actually some really, you know, heartbreaking scenes in the third act of the film where you see Neil Armstrong telling his kids that I might not actually make it back. And there's things like that in the film which work really well, because you have all the space training stuff where things might go wrong. And then it always goes back to Neil Armstrong and his family, and you see the effect it has on them, and you see the effect it has on his wife, played by Claire Foy. And that's where the film works. And that family dynamic also works because of those lead two performances. You know, Ryan Gosling and Claire Foy. Like, Ryan Gosling is really good in the film. A lot of people criticise his performance for being quite just, you know, contained in the film. But that's, in the end, that's what he needs to be. By the way, Ryan Gosling can act. I've got nothing wrong with that. The thing is, in this film, he's playing quite a contained person. But the fact is, if you're going to space, you don't want to really have that many emotions, because things go wrong at any minute like that. And this film is based on real life events and everything, and things did go wrong. So you do actually see things go horribly wrong in this film. And I really like, you know, Ryan Gosling's performance of Neil Armstrong, because it's believable. But at the same time, though, I think all the emotion in the film comes from Claire Foy's brilliant performance. Like, Claire Foy is a fantastic actress. I love her portrayal of the Queen, The Crown. That is actually my favourite portrayal of the Queen in The Crown so far. Not that I don't dislike Olivia Colman at all. I think she did an absolutely fantastic job. But Claire Foy will, in my opinion, probably be the best Queen on The Crown yet. Anyway, I mean, we haven't seen the new series yet, we won't be seeing it for a while. But, in my opinion, she did an absolutely superb job on The Crown. And this is the only other film I've seen her in. And actually, her performance is quite simply incredible. I'm pretty sure she actually got an Oscar nomination for her performance in the film, and you can see why. Because honestly, she's so fantastic to watch in the film. She really is. Because yes, you have this contained performance by Ryan Gosling, which in my opinion is brilliant. But at the same time, though, you have this really emotional performance from Claire Foy, which works really, really well in the film. And she's great. She really is in the film. There's a lot of scenes in the film where, you know, it's hard to believe that you're actually watching these actors. It makes it so believable. That's another thing the film does so well, that it's so believable. You don't feel like you're watching Ryan Gosling or Claire Foy. You'll feel like you're watching Neil Armstrong and his wife, and that's where it works for me. And by the way, I should say here that I don't really know what Neil Armstrong was like. I've never seen him in any interviews. But what the performance that they gave was believable, in my opinion, from someone who doesn't really know that area of space. I mean, I don't really care about space that much, I must admit. But, me personally, what made that family dynamic in the film more powerful is our lead two performances, the authenticity of it, and at the same time, though, the way it was put together. And I think this film is really good. I really didn't expect to like it as much as I did. And that's not to say I don't think the film has problems. In my opinion, I think the film gets a bit too bogged down in the space stuff. Again, that's coming from someone who's not interested in that sort of stuff. But because I became more interested in the family stuff in the film, which is where I think the film works its best, of all the space in the film, it does get a bit bogged down in some stages. Like, there's a whole sequence in space at one stage where they're just kind of like floating around in space. And although it's kind of a good sequence, personally, I wasn't interested as much as the family stuff. Like, when I watched the film recently, a couple of minutes in the film, I was like, yeah, I don't really know what you're talking about there. Can you? Okay, we'll just keep going on the space stuff now. And then when the film went back to the family, though, that's when I, you know, my interest developed there. That's when I kept being interested in the film. But the space stuff isn't badly made. I'm not saying that. I actually think it's beautifully made. I think the film's got some fantastic cinematography, and I don't know how they did space stuff in the film. I really don't. I think that is actually quite impressive to watch in the film. And like I said, I think the cinematography works really well in the film, and I think the film has some really good visual effects as well. But personally, for me, to myself, I just found that the film did sometimes get a bit too bogged down in that space stuff, which I personally wasn't as interested in. But saying that, though, with all the things the film does right, I didn't mind when it did get a bit bogged down in that space stuff a bit too much. Because honestly, it did do a lot of things right. And not only does the film have these fantastic performances, but at the same time, though, it's also really well made. You do feel like you're watching this film take place, it was in 1960, yeah, 1960. 1960? Of course it's 1960. Moonlight was 1969. I almost forgot when the moon landing was there. I can't believe I almost did that. But yes, you do almost feel like you're watching the film take place in the 1960s, which works really well. But at the same time, though, the film does seem authentic. You know, it does seem like you're actually watching these people prepare to go to space. I really like that about it. At the same time, though, it's got a really powerful family dynamic, and I really like the two performances, particularly from Ryan Gosling and Claire Foy. Claire Foy is just brilliant in this film. She can act her socks off. But at the same time, though, there's two other things which I haven't mentioned which I thought were really good in this film. First thing is the musical score by Justin Hurwitz. There are so many sequences in the film when the music was just used so well. Or it might just be subtle in there, but actually might, you know, add to the anticipation of a scene. Like, quite a lot of scenes where you see all the astronauts being briefed and everything, you just get this subtle music on in the background. And it just works so well. But at the same time, though, there's one absolutely brilliant sequence in the film, which takes place in space. Yes, a sequence in space in the film, which I like. Wow. But yeah, basically, there's a sequence that takes place in space in the film, which you just get this flamboyant music on in the background. It's really nice to listen to. I really like the score of the film because the score did something which I didn't expect the film to do. And this actually happened the first time I watched this. Even so you know the outcome of the film, even so you know, okay, spoiler, Neil Armstrong lands on the moon, even so you know that, the film actually makes you feel a bit more intense, that you don't actually think you know what the outcome is going to be in the third act of the film. And that is where the film succeeded for me the first time so much. Like, I was just thinking the first time, it's a good film, I'm liking it, but I'm not loving it. And then the third act of the film, I was like, wow, I felt so intense in that sequence. And even so you know the outcome, you still feel so intense. Like, if you're watching the video now, you might think, oh, that's a bit stupid, feeling a bit intense in that sequence of the film, which, you know, you obviously know where the outcome is going to go, but you've seen, you know, the rocket about to land on the moon, it just feels so intense, and that's down to Justin Hurwitz's fantastical score in that scene, but at the same time, the way it's directed and the way it's just done so well, you just get this cut back between Neil Armstrong, played by Ryan Gosling, just looking outside of the rocket, and the rocket wanting to land, and it's such an intense sequence in the film, and even so you know the outcome of the sequence, it's still intense. And in my opinion, that's how you know a film is working. And that's where First Man Work really works for me. Even so you know the outcome of that sequence, it still feels intense. And that's what I really like about it. And although I don't love First Man, I do really like it. I really like performances. I really like the way it was shot. I love the musical score for the film. That's really grown on me. And at the same time, though, I just think it's a really good film. I really do. And I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. And so for that reason, I'm going to say that First Man, I'm going to say it's about 8.8 out of 10. I mean, this film is forever, and that's fine. And I actually know this film was based on a book. I haven't read that book. All I know is what's in the film. But the thing is, what made this film work for me personally as a film fan is just, I thought it was emotional, I thought it was powerful, I thought it was really well made, and I really like this film. I don't think it's perfect, and it isn't personally one of my favourite Damien Chazelle films. I think it's beautifully made. I think it's got this incredible score by Justin Hurwitz, and I think it's got some incredible performances as well, particularly two performances, Ryan Gosling and Claire Foy. And for someone who's not really interested in subject to space and everything, actually, I was fully invested from beginning to end of this film. And actually, I really, really like First Man. And so for that reason, I'm going to say that First Man is an 8.8 out of 10 from me. Anyway guys, what do you think of First Man? Do you love it, do you hate it, or have you just not watched it? And if not, why not? Please do comment down below and know your thoughts in the comment section below. Anyway guys, thank you as always for watching. If you haven't yet, please do click down below and like, subscribe on the video. I look forward to many more, both film and TV, coming very, very soon on this channel. See you guys again soon, but bye for now. Bye!